Diana, you're talking about two different things. One is the operating system, and the other one is the hard drive of the computer, its ability, how many hours of video can it hold, how many hundreds of photos can it hold, and even how many programs can it hold which edit those photos. Okay, if we're just going to talk about the operating system, you've got Windows, you've got Linux, and you've got Apple. Instead of Linux, we could talk about Ubuntu, which is a version of Linux, or we could talk about the Chrome OS from Google. That's probably the most popular Linux in the world today because Google is pushing it as an alternative to Linux, regular, and as an alternative to Windows and Apple. It might be better because it's free. That's all it is, but it requires that you learn a little bit. I mean, for example, if you're an architect and you're building doors, probably you want 90 degrees in all four corners. So Windows and Apple probably predict that's what you want to do, and that's what they'll let you do. And in fact, they'll do it for you. But if one of those corners you want to have a curve, you're totally fucked by Windows and Apple. But Linux or Ubuntu or Google Chrome OS will let you do it. Okay? You need to learn a little bit how to do it. But once you learn how to do that, it's second nature. It's really easy. So the difference might be not only that Chrome OS or Linux or Ubuntu is free, but it requires a little bit of learning. And after that, you can more or less do whatever you want. You can play with your Skype. You can play with your Gmail, your calendar. You can do a lot of things you just can't do with Windows and Apple. And it's free. Okay, so that's the first reason why I think it's a better operating system. Now let's talk about the physical computer itself. Do you need a computer that has in it a room for, let's say, 500 hours of video or not? Okay, I mean, if you do, then you're going to get a heavy computer, an expensive computer. The battery's going to run out in 3 hours and the thing's going to heat up your balls, okay, or whatever you got between your legs, okay? But if you're okay putting all that crap in the cloud or into an external hard drive, you'll pay a lot less for a computer because it won't be as heavy. The battery will last longer. It'll be thinner and lighter, okay? But the stuff will be in the cloud. So instead of having 500 hours of video in your computer, you'll have it in Google Drive or Dropbox or in some other place, hopefully that's free and secure, okay? And you'll be able to get to it. So you'll be able to eliminate, let's say, all those videos and all those photos and put them in the cloud. And if you're doing photo editing, normally what people do is the photo is in the computer, the editing program is in the computer, and all of this takes up space, costs money, okay? Electricity. But if the photos are in the cloud and the editing program is in the cloud, you're editing in the cloud, you don't have to have any of that in your computer. You can really have a light, sexy, easygoing computer. But then again, everything's in the cloud. So if you don't have internet, again, you're screwed. Okay, so you've got to think what you need to have is a minimum in your computer of the programs you need for survival. For example, when you're writing a document, you want to have in your computer physically a program that helps you to write documents like Word. Something equivalent to Word, it's free and it's physically living in your computer. So even if you don't have internet, you can go ahead and write documents, do translations. You might want to have a Photoshop kind of program physically living in your computer so that offline you could have some photos in your computer and you can edit them, okay? That is the exact idea of the Chrome OS, okay? With Linux and Ubuntu and Chrome OS, they've thought of it's free, okay? It's not going to cost money. And also they try to put everything into the cloud. That way the computer is cheaper. Okay, not only are your videos and computers in the cloud, so they're not taking up space in your computer and burning your battery, but the programs you use with which to see and edit those videos and photos are also in the cloud. Think of your computer as a shelf, like that one. Okay, when you buy a Windows computer, half of that shelf is already loaded down with programs. You're paying for that stuff, okay? And it's also slowing down your computer, okay? Now, when you buy Linux, basically you get a shelf that's more or less, or Ubuntu or Chrome OS, it's kind of empty, okay? So you need a smaller shelf. That's a less expensive computer, a lighter computer, the battery lasts longer. Some of those books on that shelf might be the Windows operating system, or the Apple operating system, or the Linux or Chrome OS operating system. But with Chrome OS, that's the only book that's on the shelf. Okay, all the other books, like Window Media Player, you don't have them. You don't pay for them, and you don't have them. You've got a media player maybe up in the cloud where you keep your videos. So that means you can see your videos anytime you want if you have internet. With Windows, you've got all your videos on the shelf, and you've got the program that plays them for you also on the shelf. You're paying for that space. It's eating up your battery. Why not put all those videos in the cloud and the program that you use to see them with in the cloud? Okay, or maybe put the program to see them with in your physical computer. It's going to take up space. It'll be a book on the shelf, but leave the videos in the cloud. So if you want to see one, you just bring it down in an instant and see it. Okay, things like that. So the idea of having a cheaper computer, first of all, it means having a free operating system. If Windows were free, if Apple were free, I think they would do a lot better. Okay, but they cost money. So the thing is, when you open the box of your computer, you got to have an operating system on the shelf. You need Linux, it could be Chrome, it could be Ubuntu, you need Windows or Apple. But then after that, the idea is to keep as few books on the shelf as possible. Get rid of the Photoshop applications and the window media player applications and the translation applications and all that other shit. Put it in the cloud someplace. And all the shit that those programs play with, put them in the cloud too. Okay, so you could edit your photos in the cloud with a program in the cloud that edits photos. Everything's in someone else's computer. Okay, now are you secure with this? Do you feel okay with this? Is someone going to rob your material? I have no freaking idea. Okay, I'm telling you honestly. Okay, we keep our bank accounts and bills for our clients in the cloud in a secure box with Google Drive. I'm afraid if I keep them physically in my computer in my house, someone could send me an email with a virus and get everything. I put them in the cloud. Okay, I'm equally vulnerable. I also keep a copy in an external hard drive about the size of my hand. Okay, so in this case, I don't really need to keep anything in my computer. I could keep it in my external hard drive, which costs me $50, or I can keep it in the cloud. So the idea is, when you buy a computer for $700 or $800, you're probably paying $600 of that just for crap. I mean, you're paying probably to have Windows, antivirus, window media player, Word, pay the FA, PowerPoint presentations, and dozens of other programs. Plus, you're paying for a lot of empty space, an enormous shelf for the videos and music and pictures that you're going to put there, and the other programs that you're going to download like Skype. You're paying for all that crap. It's better to just keep that crap in the cloud, your photos, your videos, and all that shit up there, and carry around a sleek, beautiful, thin computer. Okay? What we're doing in my school now, InglesGarantizado, is we're testing Chrome OS versus the Ubuntu Linux and pure Linux. And also we've had Apple and we've had Windows. And we have noticed that the price is a lot cheaper with the Linux-based computer. We've chosen Chrome OS because it's the one that it's among the Linux family, but Google is the one pushing it. So if Google's pushing something, you better listen. Okay, because when Ubuntu was being pushed by some unknown people, people gave it the finger and said, screw you, Ubuntu's still in the second division. But now that Google's pushing its version of Linux, it's moving into the first division. People who are stupid, who don't know anything about computers, are starting to think about buying a Linux computer. Because if Google's pushing it, maybe it's okay. When Google starts promoting free operating systems, which the hippies have been doing for two decades already, you got to think about it. That's why we went to the Linux and we chose the Google one. Okay? That's about it. I don't know what else to tell you. If you want any more information about our experience with Chrome operating systems or Linux operating systems, let me know.